What's really interesting about the gas industry and the oil and gas industry is a lot of it's hidden. Right now, it's kind of hidden in parts of the state, in rural parts of the state. But the sites themselves, we don't know what's under our feet anymore. We don't know what's happening to the water, to the groundwater. Is it being contaminated? Are those well casings still, intact? We just don't know. It's hidden. And that scares me a lot.
My name is Bill Hughes. My wife and I live in Wetzel County, West Virginia. We've lived on the farm where we're at now for close to 40 years. Wetzel County has been known for 8 years or more as being a bit of a center of Marcellus shale gas extraction, exploration, and production. Extraction process, it appears initially as an invasion of the rural community. People, trucks, noise, smells, fumes, traffic. The process is referred to as hydraulic fracturing, but I've always said that at the same time it fractures our communities. This well pad is contiguous and adjacent with that dehydration station. Some of the pictures in the books here would show what it looked like while I'm drilling. It was just black, slimy stuff all over the place. Since there was water,
the coal industry dominates politics here. They heavily influence government from local to federal in West Virginia, and that's a huge problem. And people here have been led to believe that they can't live without the coal industry. And sadly, now what we're seeing as the coal industry declines, the oil and gas industry is ascending.
You have in certain places big chunks of cash. So it begins to alter their judgment about long-term prudent decisions. A lot of people sign leases and they had no idea what they're going to get. And they got way more than they were expecting. It's very difficult to put a price on your grandchildren having wilderness to play in. Once a drill pad's in place, 50 years from now, it's going to be a barren chunk of flat land on top of a hill. And in the particular case of the Wetzel County, we have a landfill. Over the past 2.5 years, we've buried over 500,000 tons of drill waste products there. All of it's slightly radioactive. And a reasonable question would be, well, wow, that sounds like it could be a problem. How radioactive is it? We don't know. The state doesn't want to know. Daily we put low-level radioactive waste into the Ohio River from our landfill every day. Is that good or bad? We don't know. Who cares? Well, I think some people in Cincinnati will. They drink out of this river. And so does Sistersville, which is 10 miles down from us. What's in that water? We don't really know for sure.
4 to 6 million gallons of our fresh water is withdrawn from our streams, injected with, it's mixed with all sorts of chemicals. God only knows what. We do know some of them are carcinogenic. It goes deep into the ground, and then it comes back up. It's stored in pits. It's a mess. And there's this stuff called groundwater, and people living in rural communities, many of them rely on groundwater as their source of water. And they're exposed then to all sorts of chemicals. Again, we don't know what. is in the water.
My concern now is there are two families in the luxury yet.
When we were standing on the road beneath this plant and looking up, as I looked up, I could see dust rising, and it's silica dust. And silica essentially is fine particles of sand, glass, essentially. And, you know, I understand the glass industry and the harm it can cause because my father worked in the glass industry and had silicosis at the end of his life. So it's harmful. It hurts your lungs. It's, you know, needs to be watched, and people may not realize how harmful it is. Another real big concern about air emissions from fracking is ultra-fine particulates. And this is the stuff you can't see. You know, we saw on our trip, we saw dust and so forth, and we saw fumes and so forth. But it's the stuff that you can't see that is the most harmful because it impacts the human body at the cellular level.
Fabric filter socks. They just let this trash lay. So I take pictures of it. We piled it all in a garbage bag. What I've been doing now for 5 years is just advocating on behalf of my grandchildren and my neighbor's grandchildren, and for Wetzel County, Tyler, Marshall, Doddridge, all over the state, because we need a few people that are willing to observe, document, digest, and distill this information to try to convey to other communities in other states, if need be, what black shale gas extraction is likely to look like in your neighborhood.
The people have not prospered under coal, and the people here are not going to prosper under the oil and gas industry. Any profits that are made are going to leave the state. The biggest problem with this is that we're going down the same failed path.